So the movie begins with a North Korean agent named Park sitting in a small street bar and drinking alone. The place was actually owned by an old North Korean spy woman who secretly helped Park leave for South Korea. But the moment he stepped outside, South Korean police officers surrounded him and revealed that his own people had betrayed him and handed him over. Hearing this, Park slowly pulled something out of his pocket. The police thought it was a gun, but it was only a photo of his children. Before he could even say anything, it shot him dead. In reality, he only wanted to see his kids one last time, who were being held inside a South Korean camp. Right after that, a North Korean colonel arrived and took Park's son, Dong, away with him. The colonel told him that his father was a traitor who ruined their mission, and if Dong wanted to save his little sister, he would have to complete a dangerous mission for them in South Korea. Left with no choice, Dong accepted the offer and moved to South Korea, where he changed his name from Dong to Kang. But for this story, we'll still call him Dongie. 2 years later, Dong was adopted by a normal-looking family, but the twist is, they were secretly North Korean agents too. They adopted him only to protect his identity and keep suspicion away from him. They even enrolled him in a school so he could live like an ordinary student and blend into society. Meanwhile, another North Korean agent named Tony started murdering his own country's agents. His goal was to help Korea's opposition party seize power from inside. News of these killings soon reached the South Korean police, who immediately began checking CCTV footage from the hotel connected to the murders. At the same time, Dong arrived at his new school on his very first day, and somehow, this guy's luck was insane because he instantly got a seat next to the prettiest girl in class. Her name was Kim, but most students mockingly called her Drizzle. Some troublemaking boys in the class constantly bullied Kim, and now they had started targeting Dong too. But despite everything, Dong never fought back because he was trying hard to keep his true identity hidden. One day, after returning home from school, Dong noticed a mysterious package waiting for him. Inside was a phone. The moment he turned it on, the colonel contacted him and gave him his first mission: eliminate the traitor agent, Tony. To gather information, Dong visited a pharmacy and a pastry shop along with his cute partner girl. The owners of both places were also undercover North Korean agents. They handed Dong a gun and gave him the address of another contact who might know Tony's whereabouts. As soon as Dong reached the location, he cornered the man and demanded answers about Tony. Completely terrified, the man admitted he didn't know Tony directly, but he did know a butcher who had seen him recently. Dong immediately headed to the butcher's meat shop. The butcher quietly gave Tony's car number, but the moment Dong tried to leave, the butcher suddenly attacked him. Unfortunately for him, Dong was far more dangerous than he looked, and within seconds, he completely destroyed the guy. Using the car number, Dong finally tracked Tony down and began following him through the city streets. At a red light, Dong prepared to finish the mission once and for all, but Tony suddenly sped away. Their intense cat-and-mouse chase ended in a massive car crash. However, because a huge crowd gathered around the accident scene, Dong failed to kill Tony and lost his chance once again. The next day at school, those troublemaker boys dragged Kim into an empty room. They stole her money, and during the struggle, her shirt got ripped as well. Hearing the noise, Dong rushed there immediately, and the moment he saw what happened to Kim, he completely lost it. He tore through those guys like a monster, twisting their arms and legs within minutes. In just 2 minutes, he absolutely destroyed the entire gang. After that, Dong quietly gave Kim his coat to cover herself, pulling off the ultimate Sigma move. But strangely, from the very next day, Kim stopped coming to school completely. Dong slowly started feeling restless and couldn't stop thinking about her. In fact, he got so distracted that he accidentally ended up distracting the teacher too. Later, he asked those same bullies about Kim's address, and one of them told him where she worked part-time. When Dong reached the place, he found out that Kim had already quit her job there as well. Hearing this made him even more upset, and he stayed gloomy for days. Then finally, the next day, Kim suddenly appeared in front of him with a completely different hairstyle. She had come to return Dong's coat. That's when Dong learned that she had started working somewhere else and would no longer attend school anymore. Kim then asked Dong for a favor. Since no one in her family was alive anymore, she needed someone's name to register as her family member at her workplace. Without hesitation, Dong wrote down his own name for her. Meanwhile, Tony finally discovered Dong's home address. He stormed into the house and brutally killed Dong's fake parents, who were actually undercover North Korean agents. After that, Tony's men stole some highly important packets hidden inside their safe. But when Dong returned home, he found Tony waiting for him there, and instantly a brutal fight broke out between the two. At first, Tony completely overpowered Dong and pushed him around badly, but Dong quickly turned the tables and beat Tony down hard. Believing he had finally completed his mission, Dong leaked the house's gas pipes and walked away. away, leaving the place ready to explode. After that, he went back to the old spy grandma's bar, the same woman we saw at the beginning of the movie. Apparently, every agent comes there after finishing a mission to relax and drink. But before Dong could even enjoy his drink, exhaustion took over and he collapsed unconscious. On the other side, South Korean agent Jun arrived at Dong's burned house to investigate the incident. During the search, they found Dong's school badge in the ruins, which revealed that he had enrolled in the school using a completely fake identity. When Dong finally woke up, the old grandma gave him food and water while staring at him like he was some wild animal. Soon, she also realized that Dong was actually the son of Park, the same man the colonel had betrayed and handed over to the South Korean police years ago. Then, when they returned to the bar, Dong discovered another package waiting for him. Inside was a second phone. That meant his mission was still not over. The colonel contacted him once again and assigned him one final mission. He promised that after completing it, his little sister would finally be freed. Dong was ordered to recover the stolen packets that Tony's men had taken. And the shocking truth was finally revealed. Those packets contained $40 million worth of diamonds that needed to be delivered safely back to North Korea.
Dong quickly arrived at a construction building where the diamond deal was about to take place. The moment he entered, he attached a silencer to his gun and started taking people down one by one with perfect precision. On top of that, he even threw a grenade into the building, causing a massive explosion. In the middle of all the chaos, Dong finally managed to recover the diamonds. That same evening, he returned to the old grandma's bar and said goodbye to her because he believed his mission was finally complete and he was about to return to North Korea. But just as he boarded the boatman suddenly attacked him, saying that no agent ever gets to go back home alive. Even while badly injured, Dong somehow fought back and barely managed to kill the man. At the same time, South Korean police started surrounding all the North Korean agents after discovering information about their secret unit. Dong rushed back to the old grandma's place, but the moment he saw the situation there, he realized things had already gone terribly wrong and immediately escaped from the area. With nowhere else to go, Dong secretly arrived at Kim's house. Kim helped him treat his wounds and even removed his bloody clothes to bandage him properly. But while taking care of him, she suddenly saw breaking news on TV revealing that Dong was actually a North Korean agent who had now become one of the country's most wanted criminals. Even after learning the truth, Kim never complained or betrayed him because Dong had always protected and helped her whenever she needed someone. A little later, Kim went out to buy some groceries, but on her way back, South Korean agent Jun stopped her and asked if she had seen Dong anywhere. Kim calmly lied and said she hadn't seen him for over 2 months. Hearing this, Jun handed her his business card before leaving. Back at the house, Dong received another call from the colonel. The colonel revealed that he had brought Dong's little sister, Tim, to South Korea. He ordered Dong to bring the diamonds to a specific location if he wanted to see his sister alive again. Unknowingly, Kim secretly overheard the entire conversation. The next morning, Dong quietly left behind a letter for Kim before disappearing. In the letter, he wrote that if he didn't survive, he wanted her to take care of his little sister Tim. The moment Kim read the letter, she realized Dong's life was in serious danger, so she immediately contacted Agent Jun and told him the location where Dong and the colonel were supposed to meet. Soon after, Dong arrived at a large parking area to meet the colonel. There, he saw his little sister Tim tied up inside a car. Dong showed the colonel the small bag containing the diamonds, but the moment the colonel confirmed they were real, one of his men suddenly tried to shoot Dong. Before he could pull the trigger properly, a police officer shot that man first. And just like that, an intense crossfire erupted across the entire parking area. Amid the chaos, the colonel quickly escaped from the scene. At the same time, one of his drivers tried to flee with Tim in the car. Dong chased after them desperately, but ahead of him, the police were already waiting. With no other choice, Dong escaped once again while the police safely took Tim into custody. A little later, Dong received another terrifying phone call from the colonel. This time, the colonel revealed that Kim was now in his hands, and if Dong wanted to see Kim alive again, he would have to come alone. The colonel ordered Dong to come alone to the given location with the diamonds if he wanted Kim to stay alive. Hearing this, Dong immediately called Agent Jun and told him that he would surrender himself soon. But before that, Jun had to promise to protect his little sister. Dong even talked to Tim for a moment, and after the call ended, he completely broke down in tears, wondering why fate kept ruining his life again and again. But despite everything, he still had responsibilities left to fulfill for his sister. So Dong picked up the diamonds and headed straight toward the colonel's location. Before entering the area, Dong secretly called Jun and left the phone attached to his bike so the police could trace the signal and eventually reach the location. Then he walked inside while holding the diamonds in his hand and angrily asked the colonel, "So all of this madness was just for these diamonds?" At this point, Dong was no longer planning to let the
Colonel walk away alive. Without warning, he suddenly threw the diamonds into the air and launched himself at the Colonel's men. An intense gunfight instantly exploded across the entire place. Bullets flew everywhere as Dong fought like a man who had already accepted death. To gain the upper hand, Dong detonated a bomb hidden inside his bag, causing a massive explosion that shook the entire building. Amid the chaos, he grabbed Kim and tried to escape with her. But suddenly, one of the remaining enemies caught him from behind. Dong pushed Kim away and told her to run outside immediately. At that very moment, the Colonel got back on his feet and fired a shot directly into Dong's body, hitting him just above the kidney. Then, Agent Jun finally arrived at the scene to stop everything once and for all. During the final confrontation, Dong managed to kill the Colonel, but by then he had already been shot too many times. Jun and Kim rushed Dong toward the hospital, while Kim cried uncontrollably. She couldn't believe that Dong had sacrificed his entire life for someone who was once just a stranger to him. But sadly, Dong didn't survive. After his death, Kim decided to take care of Tim and fulfill Dong's final wish, making sure his little sister would never be left alone again.